Ladies and gentlemen, here we are again back in the studio, Hudson County View, live and uncut. I'm your host, the guy with the largest arms, the greatest charms, and the words that do the most harm, John R. Highness. And of course, we're here to talk about the latest and greatest in Hudson County news, as we do every single week. So, first of all, let's talk about what's happening with COVID-19 restrictions. Obviously, New Jersey has had some of the tightest restrictions across the country, but Governor Phil Murphy revealed yesterday that he's going to be increasing indoor dining capacity from 25% to 35%, as well as getting rid of the 10 p.m. indoor dining curfew. So that's something that will go into effect at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, Friday, and we've heard from Jersey City Mayor Stephen Fulop and Hoboken Mayor Ravi Bala. And while it hasn't always been the case, they're on the same page this time. So we're going to tell you what that means for your local bar and restaurant scene. Another thing, in a bit of breaking news from this morning, there's going to be, actually there already has been, 3 people nominated to the Hudson County Superior Court, one being Michael Jimenez. He's West New York and Gothenburg Corporation Counsel, as well as 2 Jersey City Municipal Court judges. So we're going to tell you a little bit about that. And it looks like those appointments are pretty much a done deal, folks, despite a pending vote by the legislature. So we're going to talk about that. And we're also going to talk about an exclusive, a $10 million offer of judgment as part of a settlement in a wrongful death suit. A family is suing NJ Transit and the Hudsonburg and Light Rail, as well as related companies, over a Christmas Eve incident on 2019 where a woman was killed by a light rail train. So we're going to talk about that. And of course, right after we come back from this break, I'm going to be joined remotely by New Jersey Assemblywoman Jimenez, of course, of the 32nd Legislative District. We'll be with her in just a few moments.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net. Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
Good Friend Self-Storage in North Bergen, New Jersey is a fully climate-controlled facility equipped with state-of-the-art security, packing supplies, a Refer a Friend program, and multiple loading docks convenient for commercial use. Located just off of Route 3 at 4301 Tunley Avenue, Route 1 and 9. Call 201-867-2444 or visit us on the web today. Good Friend Self-Storage. Let us be your good friend.
Hudson County View, live and uncut. John R. Highness. And as I just said a few moments ago, I am joined remotely by New Jersey Assemblywoman Jimenez of the 32nd Legislative District. Assemblywoman, thanks for being a part of the program today.
Thank you for having me. It's
yes,
great seeing you.
Yes,
even
better
like
than
this.
nothing. It's been a long time. It's nice to see you as well. So first of all, Assemblywoman, let's talk a little bit about COVID-19. Obviously, that's dominated the news cycle for the better part of the past year, right? And you actually had a case, one of the earlier cases, among NJ electeds, and now we're on the vaccination process. So could you just talk about your personal experience with actually having the virus to now, where people are getting vaccinated, people like yourself that work in the healthcare industry, the vaccination rollout, and everything in between? In a nutshell, I know it's tough, but to the best of your ability.
Yeah. Well, back in March, they didn't know that. I would say they really didn't know that much about it, because I remember when I was when my test came out positive, the symptoms that I had were something that weren't considered symptoms worth testing for. So, and everybody had so many different, you had to have a high fever, you had to have a cough. I didn't have the high fever, I didn't have the cough, but I absolutely was positive. And it was scary. And as a mom, like for most people, it was something that you don't know enough about. You're mortified because, I mean, I personally was worried that it would get worse for me being a single mom. You know, I still had my two kids that were here with me. I mean, my son was first diagnosed before I was, and that's when I quickly had to get tested. But he's he's a police officer in town, and you know, and then of course I was worried because I have a minor. I have my daughter that's just turned 15, so I was worried, as most people are. It's something that is still taking lives today. The mortality isn't as bad as it was a few months ago or a year ago, because now we know a little bit better how to treat this virus. But still, everybody has to be mindful, regardless that the vaccinations are out there. I personally still haven't been vaccinated. My father's 81. He just recently received his first dose, and so did my mom. But, you know, this doesn't take away that you still have to do the right thing. You still have to wear your mask. You still have to social distance. You know, try not to touch your face, of course, with your hands. You got to constantly keep them washed. Doesn't take away from that, because like I said, you know, I actually saw a friend of mine today. He's a doctor. And the fascinating part, John, is that, I mean, I live here in West New York. I don't have a large house. Everybody in my home got this virus except for my daughter. She's 14, 15. We all share the same bathroom, which, you know, leads me to think that we still don't know that much about the virus. We're getting to know it a lot better, but it's fascinating that she doesn't even have the antibodies, and she's been tested multiple times. So, you know, your best line of defense, how we do, I mean, at hospitals, if you're a healthcare worker, you know, for ages, people have been masking up and wearing gloves. You know, we still have to be mindful. Even with this vaccine, doesn't mean you can't get it, I would say. You still might have a chance of getting it, so you have to be very careful.
Let me just cut in quickly,
around,
if I may. So on that end, let's talk a little bit about the vaccination rollout. I mean, obviously, we've heard some of our county officials, like County Executive Tom DeGees, talk about the dosage shortage, which is, of course, a nationwide problem. But could you just tell us about how the vaccination process is going from your vantage point in your district, you know, West New York, North Bergen, and Secaucus and beyond?
Right. Well, you know, our district, it has been rolling out. I know West New York had a few, I think I would say maybe 200 doses, and that was a few weeks back. Did the word get out there? It didn't get out there as well as it would have been nice, but, you know, they only had 200 doses. So in the district as a whole, luckily, we have North Bergen. It's a large district, the 32nd district. And, you know, the demand, the supply is not enough for the demand of this vaccine. And we could only depend on whatever we get, you know, as a state. And they are rolling it out slowly. They are, though, rolling it out as best as they possibly can with our hospitals. We have Hackensack Meridian Health and other hospitals. But is it enough? Right now, it is not. But we're doing the best we can. I mean, under the circumstances, I think most of the towns or the communities are really on top of it, and they are really doing the best they can with their housing authorities, making sure that their seniors are at least listed to get these vaccines and registered. But it is a slow process, and you know, like I tell my parents, you just have to be mindful. And I tell my constituents that are older that call me, do you know where I could get the vaccine? I tell them, just keep wearing your mask. Let's register you. One of the things that I did speak with them at Hudson County was that most of our seniors don't have access to internet. And I learned the hard way from my personal experience. I had to register my parents through my email. They only allow you to register one person via your email. So I was able to register my mom. I couldn't register my dad. I had to create an email for my father. He's 81. He's blind. He doesn't have access. So that was one of the little glitches, I would say.
Very good, Assemblywoman.
But you know something,
just,
John,
I got to stop you just briefly. We're going to take a break from our sponsor, and we'll be right back.
Thank you.
The Jersey City Medical Center. You know it for its award-winning, life-saving ambulance service. It's also your health hub. with health and wellness locations staffed with certified professionals all through Hudson County. The Jersey City Medical Center, here to help you with your healthy, here when you need us the most. The Jersey City Medical Center. Visit us on the net to learn more. Jersey City Medical Center, Robert Wood Johnson, Barnabas Health Facility. Let's be healthy together.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers a quality of life you deserve in 10 high-rise rental towers with amenities such as the on-site Newport Path subway, light rail and ferry service, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Sears, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams Supermarket is just outside your front door. A health and fitness club, spa, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. NewportNJ.com. Enjoy the New York skyline from Newport Town Square. Manhattan is just one path stop away or quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Want to visit Newport? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. Go to NewportNJ.com for details. Newport has luxurious towers, great restaurants, shopping, New York skyline views, schools, playgrounds, a marina and yacht club, gym, spa, fine wine, fine living. It's incredible. It's you. NewportNJ.com. Newport. Live like you want.
Hudson County View, live at Uncut. Chad Hidus, and I am still with State Assemblywoman Angelica Jimenez. So, Assemblywoman, just to give you a moment to finish up there. I know you were talking about some of the challenges of the the vaccination registration. So, what do you think could be done here to make this easier and more accessible for our seniors and our high-risk populations?
Well, I think the registration process, first of all, is difficult for a lot of seniors, especially if they don't have access to the internet, which many of them don't or aren't familiar on how to use the internet. It's going to get a lot easier when the CVSs and the Walgreens, these major carriers, are able to administer the vaccine. John, I mean, this is something that's new to all of us. So there is going to be a learning curve with this. Unfortunately, will the majority of our residents be vaccinated? I think so. I think that hopefully by springtime, maybe early summer, we'll get a large population vaccinated. But there is going to be a learning curve. The answers, I don't know what they are because like I said, it's something new, but I think that once the CVSs, Walgreens are able to, provide this vaccine, I think it'll make it easier, especially for that senior community that relies on these drugstores for their regular medications.
All right, fair enough. So let's talk a little bit on the legislative end. I know last month you made some headlines over the Dominic Marino bill that was signed into law by Governor Phil Murphy. I mean, if the full name of the bill kind of speaks for itself, but just tell us a little bit about that and why you wanted to be a part of it.
Well, that was a bill a long time in the making, actually, and Vincent Prieto, my colleague for quite so many years and the Speaker of the Assembly at the time, that was something that he was really happy and proud to handle, and I was on there with him with this bill. And unfortunately, at the time, Christie did not. It was never really, it never saw the light of day with that administration. And then with Governor Murphy, it was conditionally vetoed. We did make some adjustments, and what it does, it provides some sort of help for people, the family members, the spouse, or a child that is a surviving member. If a law enforcement, fireman, or police officer dies during the line of duty, it will compensate them. It can never compensate them enough, but it is some sort of compensation for them. And that's what the bill does. And it was very important to Dominic that it was important for his family that his name was on it, being that he was a champion of this bill. And I was so happy to have Governor Murphy finally, put that pen, work his magic and sign it into law. And it will be something that hopefully we never have to use. But if, God forbid, we have a law enforcement officer, fireman that dies during the line of duty, at least it'll have be some sort of relief for the family member that survives in their loss.
Yeah, of course, for those who may not be familiar, I mean, Dominic was a North Bergen firefighter, North Hudson Regional Fire and Rescue firefighter, before becoming the head of the State Firefighters Union. So someone that near and dear to a lot of hearts in North Hudson. So with that, just is there any other pieces of legislation that were recently approved or that you have in the pipeline that you'd like to speak with us about today?
Well, you know, I had one bill that was the CNA ratio bill. That was another one that was a while in the works. I want to say a good 2 years, maybe even longer, in the works. And the CNA ratio, it became very popular when the pandemic hit. And what the CNA ratio is certified nurse's assistant to patient ratio at nursing homes. As it was beforehand, if you're a nursing home resident, these nurses assistants are the ones that do a lot of the heavy work, the dirty work. They're the ones that change the patients. They're the ones that feed most of the time these residents, and these are our most vulnerable patients. And we wanted some sort of fair ratio for these patients, because many of these certified nurses assistants, are working, taking care of, 20, 30 patients, and that's a lot. And when we saw it really in terrible, terrible ways when this pandemic hit, and we lost so many patients at these nursing homes. Was it because of, would it have helped if there was a better ratio of nurses assistant to patient? Maybe. But I mean, that bill became very popular then because of the deaths of the people that we lost, the family members that we lost at these nursing homes. Finally, we got some sort of we compromised, because that's what all these bills are about, John. It's about compromising, because there's a lot of stakeholders, in this process, and we were able to compromise with fair numbers. But it went back and forth for a long time, and that finally came into fruition. And there's another bill that actually was signed by Governor Christie that we're still kind of working on, because as of today, it still has not. It hasn't. The Board of Medical Examiners over on the state level has not promulgated any laws, and it's a radiologist assistant bill that was signed into law by Governor Christie, but still hasn't happened. We had to make sure that the Board of Medical Examiners set up guidelines for radiologist assistant. At Rutgers, we have a program that teaches people to be radiologist assistant, which we have a need for, like a physician's assistant. It's a very detailed program, and it's very highly skilled for these people. They have to they go through this program, and when they graduate from New Jersey, from our Rutgers program, unfortunately here in the state of New Jersey, they cannot practice here because we don't have rules set in place. The bill addressed that and made the Board of Medical Examiners, it urged them to come up with rules so that we could have these people practice in our state, unlike going to what they're doing now is they're working in Pennsylvania, they're working in New York City, because we don't have a set of rules in place.
Very good, Assemblywoman. I appreciate your time today. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll speak soon. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take another break. We'll be right back.
Most women who give birth recover without problems, but any woman can have complications after the birth of a baby. Learn the post-birth warning signs, such as fever, headache, chest pain, shortness of breath, increased bleeding, or thoughts of hurting yourself or someone else. Knowing these can save your life or the life of someone that you love. Trust your instincts. If you feel something is wrong, call and get evaluated by your healthcare provider. If your symptoms get worse or you do not hear back from your physician, call 911 or go to the nearest emergency room.
RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together.
PenPen Properties, Jersey City. Shaping the workplace with state-of-the-art office spaces that address your company desires. Building residences that define your home. Adjacent to all modes of transportation with on-site parking available. The right address, the right lease. Call 201-521-9000 or visit online at PenPen Properties.com. PenPen Properties, building Jersey City for everyone.
Stevens Jersey City Ford, located right off of NJ 440 North. Across the Hudson Mall is your one stop for all your automotive needs. Check out Ford's latest models like the 2020 Ford Fusion with its stylish looks and hybrid options, or the unparalleled high-performance 2020 Ford Mustang. The 2020 Ford F-150 Raptor is ready for those rugged off-road terrains with trail control. Need a mid-sized truck for your towing and hauling? The 2020 Ford Ranger will deliver. The 2020 Ford Escape is a luxury SUV that was made for comfort and adventure on the go. Returning is Ford's legendary Bronco, which takes you back to the true meaning of off-roading. They are now available for pre-order in our showroom or on our website. Let us help you find your next vehicle. Stevens Jersey City Ford, 201-432-7272.
Review live at Uncut, John Arhitis. So, as I mentioned at the top of the program, we're going to talk a little bit about the loosening of some of the COVID-19 restrictions here across the state of New Jersey. So again, just to reiterate, Governor Phil Murphy announced that starting at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, indoor dining capacity will go up an extra 10%. That's 35% total. And the 10 p.m. curfew that has been instituted since November will be rescinded, and this is all ahead of Super Bowl weekend. And actually, the first state legislator to bring up this idea was the Bayonne Assemblyman Nick Travelati. So with that said, we saw two city mayors in Hudson County, Stephen Fulop and Ravi Bala, come together and say that they are in support of this and they are not going to institute local restrictions, even though they are within their rights to, according to the governor. So let me read you a little bit of that joint statement. So, based on guidance provided by Governor Murphy in the state of New Jersey, we have made the joint decision to allow bars and restaurants to operate during normal, regular business hours without a local curfew. We trust that if Governor Murphy believed a curfew was necessary, it would still be in effect. But recent analysis from our health departments, as well as information provided by the New Jersey Health Department, suggests that a curfew at this time may no longer be necessary. This time around, we believe that a coordinated regional approach is the best way to implement safety measures when necessary. So you might remember it was just a few months ago, back in October, when Mayor Bala implemented a midnight curfew, and Mayor Fulop said that he was not going to do that because he said it's not as if you can't catch COVID after midnight, something to that effect on his Twitter. And, they were obviously on totally different ends of the spectrum, but now they've come together in light of this new executive order that was signed by Governor Murphy. So that's an interesting development, and I mean, it's probably a relief ahead of the big game for restaurant and bar owners in Jersey City and Hoboken. Of course, that's one of the busiest bar days and nights of the year. So with that, we're just going to keep on moving on a completely unrelated topic, though still in Jersey City. The New Jersey Supreme Court had a ruling yesterday morning where they essentially made a decision that said Jersey City teachers can be paid by the Board of Education to do full-time union work. Now, there's a lot of nuance here. This is a long decision, about 40 pages. But in a nutshell, this is what the court said. We do not share the appellate division's view that the board's agreement to the disputed provisions exceeded its statutory grant of authority. In the Education Code, the legislature empowered boards of education to make rules governing the compensation of teachers and to fix the payment of salary in cases of absence not constituting sick leave. So this is about release time, and release time basically allows union members to do union work while on the clock at teaching jobs. It's part of the labor contract negotiation process with the Board of Education, whether it's Jersey City, Patterson, or anywhere else. So that's the big thing about this decision. It was about the Jersey City Teachers Union, but it really has implications that go statewide. I mean, this could be applied to any school district, public school district, essentially. Now, this was brought forward back in 2017 by the Goldwater Institute, and that's a conservative watchdog group. And as you can imagine, the New Jersey Education Association, who is one of the top supporters and early backers of Governor Phil Murphy, a very generally Democratic body, came out and blasted the Goldwater Institute in reaction to this. They said this frivolous lawsuit was never about Jersey City. It was brought by well-funded, out-of-state special interests pursuing a radical anti-union agenda that is out of line with the values we hold dear in New Jersey. So that was just a piece of it, and they responded through their Director of National Litigation, that's John Riches, and he said public resources should be put to public use, not to advance the private interest of labor organizations. We stand ready to work with policymakers in New Jersey and elsewhere to eliminate this taxpayer abuse. Again, just a small portion of what was said in this ruling. Again, big case that has statewide implications and a huge win for the NJEA and teachers unions throughout the Garden State. So with that, we're going to take one more commercial break. We'll be right back.
You know those times when you need to see the doctor, but you just can't get to the doctor? So where do you go? Go to the App Store, download the TeleMed app from RWJ Barnabas Health, and you see the doctor right away. From any mobile device, whenever you want, wherever you are.
Quality care, no appointment necessary. The doctor is online when you download the TeleMed app.
Don't you feel better already?
RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together.
Hudson County View, live and uncut, John Arhitis. So we're just going to do a couple more here before we call it a day. So first of all, just wanted to let you know that the Jersey City Planning Board approved a new design for casino in the park. Some of our Facebook commenters not particularly thrilled with what this one looks like. Nevertheless, it passed unanimously last night, and that's Tuesday night, and it looks like this is well on its way, and this could be open as early as 2022. But let me tell you a little bit about some of the amenities just very briefly. The proposed banquet hall could fit 190 patrons in the restaurant and bar area. Of course, it also has a kitchen and support space. And they're going to have an outdoor patio and second floor balconies that will also, of course, be available for dining. Casino in the park, of course, one of the oldest eateries, banquet halls, gatherings, watering holes, whatever you want to call it for Hudson County politicos. And they've held their last event a couple years ago already, and they've just been waiting and watching. Of course, the pandemic did not help this project, like many other developments throughout the country, really. But it's moving now, and we saw support from Hudson County Executive Tom DeGees, as well as the head of the Hudson County Improvement Authority, that's CEO Norman Guerra. And so we see Landmark Hospitality is on board to construct this project, and we also see that Jeffrey Fleischer is the architect. So really not much else to say at the moment other than this is moving, and just to keep your eyes peeled, sometime in the next year, they're looking at a 12 to 14 month construction timeline. So whenever they put the shovels in the ground, hopefully we'll be the first to let you know. And then we had another breaking story, as I mentioned at the top of the program this morning. Governor Phil Murphy actually nominated 3 people with a lot of legal expertise, if I do say so myself, from Hudson County, and I'll tell you who they are right now. So first, we have a law firm partner, Scarinci Hollenbach, so not a small branch at all. We have Michael Jimenez, who's Corporation Counsel for West New York and Guttenberg. We also have Jersey City Chief Municipal Court Judge Carlo Abad, and Margaret Marley, who was a Jersey City Municipal Court Judge as well. So Abad has been a chief municipal court judge for several years, and he was reappointed just back in June, and his appointment's actually good through June 14th, 2023. Certainly he's not going to serve the full length of that term, given this latest development. But this is a very interesting situation for the Jersey City election cycle, and I say that because Mayor Stephen Fulop, as I'm sure you're all well aware, is up for re-election in November, and as long as the state legislature moves these through, which, as I already said, appears to be a done deal, it looks like Mayor Fulop will have a prime opportunity here to appoint 2 new judges. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to call it a week. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time.